recording. Now, today I'm just going to go over some of the stuff for MyLab Plus, and the reason I didn't want to just, throw everybody, well, if everybody knows how to use MyLab Plus, then I can just scoot on, but that's not the case here. In this case, half the class knows how to use MyLab Plus, the other half doesn't, okay? Or several don't. I know of 2 or 3 that told me they don't. So I can't just say, okay, we're going to start math today, and those people that don't know MyLab Plus don't know how to get on. I can't do that. So what I told some of the students, some of my former students, but Mr. Barnes was one of my former students, I told them they could go on to do other stuff, and y'all are welcome to do that too if you don't know MyLab Plus. I mean, if you do know MyLab Plus, just don't.
I'm having Pearson's right now because my statistics teacher in the spring semester links Pearson and MyLab Plus to Blackboard. So the only way I can get through it is through the trifecta. I know how to use it, but I have to fix those problems first. So I'm having to talk to an IT specialist today because I have to get it from Master MyLab too. So I know how to use it, but I can't get all that.
That's fine. Just hope you keep working on it. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is just go through the whole spiel on MyLab Plus. So make sure, especially if you have not used it before, please write notes. Okay, please, because I don't want you to come back and ask me essay question and I sit there and stare at you and go, I have no idea, because you didn't write the notes. Okay? All right. So let's go to, first of all, this is what students do wrong. I tell students to go to www.tctc.mylabplus. They don't write it down, so they go home and they pull up www.what? MyLab Plus. And that's the biggest error that I see with students, because somehow they go through here, which is not even the right engine to go through, because this is the support page for Pearson, and you would have to navigate through 2 or 3 pages here just to get to an enrollment page. So when a student calls me or texts me or emails me and says, I need a course ID, we haven't used course IDs in 6 years. Okay? So when you send me an email or a text or a voicemail, you're basically telling me that you didn't go to the right place to begin with. This is not where you go. How do you know this is the right place? Well, it has Tri-County Tech on it. tctc.mylabplus.com. How do you know you're at the right place? It says Tri-County Tech right there. Now, when you get to this page, you got to type in your username and password. Your username is your Tri-County Tech email address without the suffix. So if yours is Brad Smith, bsmith@tctc.edu, it would be bsmith. bsmith13, S Jones 12, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to type in that. I'm going to type in my T number. The T, make sure it's capitalized, and your number, and then hit sign in. Now at this point, you're going to go one of 2 directions. Many of you, I know 1 or 2 of you that's had me before, you've had college algebra. That's the same book as this book. It should be. Okay? So therefore, you do not have to type in a new access code. If you don't change books, you don't need an access code. All right? So chances are you can go in and do your old password or your T number, whatever you use for a password, and that's that. If you're new to MyLab Plus or you're new to this course, then you're going to have 3 options at this point. After you log in, you're going to have 3 options. One option, access code. That means, do you have an access code? If you do, type it in now. You click on it. Do you want to buy an access code, or to say get access code? That's if you don't want to buy one in the bookstore or get one with the book, then you buy it online. And then there's a 14-day trial period. Now the 14-day trial period is good, but it's a double-edged sword. If you go past the 14 days, it will cause more problems than solutions. If you use the 14-day trial period, do not go past the 14 days. Okay? Get the access code before the 14 days terminate. Okay? So you got three options. The book or the access code in the bookstore. Comes in a little cardboard pamphlet. Peel it off, use that access code. That's where it says access code. Get access code, or do you want to buy access code? That's if you want to buy it online. And then use 14-day trial period, but do not go past the 14 days, and it'll let you know. Okay? Now, once you do one of those three things, then you come to this, and yours is Math 111. Click on it, and this is what you will see. It's the dashboard. Runs kind of like Blackboard, as if it works most of the time. Okay? Blackboard doesn't. That's why I don't use Blackboard. Okay? I found out that the first year we had Blackboard, it was down like, I think it was 70% of the time it was down. And most of the time it was down right before tests. So I quit using it then. So anyway, here are your icons. The only icons that you really need to worry about, and write these down, because I don't have a handout that says this, is homework, quizzes and tests, grade book, and chapter contents. Homework, quizzes and tests, grade book, and chapter contents. Now homework and quizzes and tests, we'll get to that. Grade book and chapter contents, I'm going to go over grade book first. Okay? The grade book. These are bonus questions that are on your test. What is the grade book used for? How do you use it? Okay? This is your grade book. When you click on grade book, the first thing I want you to notice is this hide overall score. Well, click overall score and it show it there. That's what it comes to. Show overall score. And it'll show it to you. Now, in the overall score, it'll show you what the calculations were. Click on calculations. It'll show you what it's counting. All right. This is for you at the end of the semester mainly. To see what you've got. What's in this circle right here is what your grade is for the semester. You need to write that down. But it's got to be the overall score. Not the test score, not the homework score, but the overall score. You don't know how many students, they'll do a test, they'll see what their average is on their test, and they think that's their homework, they think that's it. And it's not. I have to deal with, okay, let's just be fair. Out of 150 students, each end of the semester week, the week of finals, I have to deal with 5 to 10 students that don't have a clue. How do I find out my grade? Click. I don't listen, I don't respond. Okay, so that's how you find your final. Now, if you want to look at your test average, then you go down here and you hit test. And it'll give you your test average. You want your homework average? Click on homework. You have to learn how to use the grade book. So what you need to do, your first unit, when you finish up your homework and you finish up the Unit 1 test, you need to go to grade book and you need to learn how to use the grade book, because you'll have grades in there then. All right? Make sure you know how to review your homework and test. When you have something in your grade book, there'll be a hyperlink to the right that says review test or review homework. Click on it, and then inside that you can print out your completed test and completed homework. Okay? So whenever you want to review something, whenever you want to look at your grade, all that is done in Gradebook. Question on that? And I've had to do 4 or 5 new questions about Gradebook because of the questions that I get at the end of the semester. I just get tired of them, so I just make them a question on the test, and you look at that question 4 different times, and hopefully after 4 times it kind of sticks. Hopefully. Okay? Your next most important is chapter contents. Now, remember when I told you about the access code, and I told you don't have to buy a book? Well, this is why. When you get your access code from the bookstore or online, you just buy the access code by itself, you have the book online right here under chapter contents. What chapter do we go in first? 1 or 2? You might look at your outline. Everybody got your outline? Everybody should have their outline with them. And yes, I forgot to do yesterday's handouts. I'll try after class to send all those handouts out again. Which chapter? In trig? Oh, I'm thinking college algebra. I'm sorry. All right, chapter 8, 8.1. There we go. And look at there, multimedia e-text. There it is. Click on that. And here's your book. Oh, really? There's your book, hopefully. And then you go up here and you hit print. It'll ask you which, and just print one after the other. Most of the lessons are 10 pages or less. So you can print out each of the pages. Let's say you want to go to 8.2. Just go over to your handy dandy table of contents. Go to 8.2 and print it out, and so on. Now, of course, how do you know which ones to print out? You got your outline. Remember, the outline is the most important page of the handouts. If you lose that outline or refuse to look at it, you're going to be lost the whole semester. Okay? As far as what we're covering and what we're doing. Now, some people like to do this because they don't want to have to bring a book to class. You know, we're only going over several sections. I don't know how many sections we go over in the first unit, but I would say probably 7. And they would rather carry 7 sections around printed out than a whole book, especially if you're at Pendleton campus and you have to go up Cardiac Hill. Okay? So, use it if you want to. If you have a book, an old book, or sharing a book, borrowing a book, then you do what you want to. But if you're solely dependent on the access code for your book, this is where you print it out under chapter contents. Okay? So that's chapter contents. Now, what do you do when you want to do homework? Well, you go here and you do homework. And there's homework right there. I'm going to go ahead and just open up one. Algebra refresher. This is the one everybody sucks at because they forget their algebra. And it goes into, and all these are set up the same way. Question help. Now this is where this is what you need to use when you're at home to get you over the hump. Different learning styles for different people. The first learning style is called a guided tutorial. The guided tutorial will go through and ask you questions, kind of like the tutor that, let's say you got x plus 3 is equal to 6. The tutor will say, okay, what kind of equation do we have here? And you'll say an algebraic equation. It has a letter in it. Yes. What do we want to do with the letter? That he asked or she asked. Want to get it by itself. So what do we do next? And then they ask you a series of questions while you're doing the problem. That's what Help Me Solve This does. Okay, so you need to, in your notes, you need to put Help Me Solve This equals questions while helping. You need to write that down because you need to know which one you like as a learning style. Okay, the second one It's just the tutor. You walk in, you give them this x plus 3 is equal to 4 or 6. X plus 3 is equal to 6. Can you show me how to do this? Yes. You know you want to get the variable by itself, so you got to get rid of the 3. How do you get rid of a positive 3? You subtract 3. Subtract 3 on one side, subtract 3 on the other. X is equal to 6, 7, whatever I said. 6 minus 3 is equal to 3. X is equal to 3. The tutor showed you how to do it, but didn't what? Didn't ask you anything, did they? That's the difference between a guided tutor and a tutor. All right? So, for some of you that are familiar with the material but just have forgotten it, you would use the view and example. People that have not seen the material or haven't seen it, what is it, 1,000 years, 100 years? Some of y'all say y'all been out of school 100 years. All right? Those of you that's been out of school for a long time or been out of, in this case, algebra a long time, you might need to help me solve this because you've never seen it or you haven't seen it in 100 years. Okay? Textbook. This is for you War and Piecers. Y'all know the people that can read a book like in 5 days or read a big book in 5 days or read 2 or 3 books a day? Well, instead of hitting these 2 things, you click on that, it takes you to the book where this material is found. And it shows you how to do it or gives you an example or shows you the lesson that goes with that problem. That's what that does. So again, a different learning style. Somebody likes to read versus watching a video. Okay? Speaking of you visual learners, that's the next one. Well, don't have one on this one. Let's find one with a video. Okay, what are videos? I know there's some videos in this. Did they turn the videos off? Oh, man, some of these teachers. Hold on. Hold on just a second. Somebody's turning videos off. Okay, I don't know what happened to the videos. I guess videos don't count anymore. I guess, I don't know. I've never seen. There we go. Okay, this one's got an animation. Animation video is about the same thing. An animation is where instead of looking at a teacher on a video, the teacher is speaking and the teacher may be writing, but the video is done by the computer graphics. And here's what it looks like. And you'll hear the person come on, play. But instead of the teacher in video, the computer does the graphic. Now, a lot of you are saying to yourself, well, what the heck are you doing? You're supposed to teach us stuff. This is to use when you're at home. Okay? This is not to use while you're in class. It's to use while you're at home. It's designed to help you get over problems that keep you from completing your homework. Okay? That's what it's called. And that's it. Okay? Now, in some questions, it might be a tutorial, it may be an animation, some it may be a video. One of the two, doesn't matter. Print. Some of you may want to do these questions paper and pencil, just like you did back in high school or back in grammar school or when you were on Little House on the Prairie, okay? One of the three, all right? If you like to do it by paper and pencil, then you print out the whole assignment by you. Print it out, take it home, put it in your notebook. Some people do both. They print it out, they do their homework, paper and pencil, but they bring it to class in their notebook, and they highlight the problems that I cover. That way it may be easier to study for a test because that may be the ones that I put on the test. So that's why some people put it in their notebook. It's up to you what you want to do. Okay? But that's where you print off the homework. You print off the homework inside. I usually tell students, go to number 1 of each of the homeworks. It's on the that we covered. Go to number 1, go over to question help, print, and print the whole homework assignment. And you'll print all the homework assignment. When you get done working the homework, go back and type in the what? Go back and type in the answers. Okay? Now, the most important problem, or the most important thing that I'm going to cover is right here. Ask my instructor. Ask my instructor is the brakes or the acceleration on the class. How do you use it? Well, this is how I use it. Let's say that you're working on this problem and you don't know how to do it. And you say, well, I've done the video, I still don't understand it, the book don't help, the problem's up here, I'm going to send it to Hubert so he'll go over it in class. Now you can use it in class, or you can send me a question during office hours, and when I get it, I'll do a video and I'll post it on YouTube and send you a link to it, so you'll, email link, so you'll be able to go straight to it. Okay? So, I have no clue you so. Okay? Now the reason I do that is because I want to show you it's real time. Alright? So that message will pop up in my email in just a second. Go to my email the next day, right before class. Oh, T-Rex is on campus. Did y'all hear about the Clemson professor? No, it'll be all over. It'll be all over WYFF. They'll be milking it for a week. The Clemson professor that says that all people that are Republicans should be done away with.
I mean, not just done away with, but
I don't know what he meant. I think he did it. I think he did it for attention myself, huh? That's it. I can't remember which one it was.
I think that even to get our student councils where you have to take a political test just to make sure that you.
That's academia. That's academia. Now, on the research universities and the residential universities, if you're a conservative or you're a little bit right of center, you're screwed.
I take the political process, so I'm not really on either side. Basically.
That's where 70% of the nation is. I know. Oh.
Even people like me would probably, shame people. Yeah. It's not fair.
I know. It's not. She's going to shoot. Y'all got to remind me to add Miss Fuller. She declined it. She's probably mad at me. Hold on a second. That's what I need to quit putting my phone on. She's already. There? Don't shoot me. I just tried to add you. If you could go back on and add me back, I'd appreciate it. All right, bye. Sorry about that. She fussed at me the other day for I got to put that thing back on voice because I forget it. Hold on a second. She's a Clemson student and has a class right at, there she is. Okay. But yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be. And I talked to my daughter a lot about it because she's at the College of Charleston. And not so bad down there because it's still in South Carolina. But this guy, I think he's just wanting attention. It is. It has. It has changed, but I don't think it'll ever get as bad as some of these other universities. I don't think it will, because you got to remember where you're at. I hope not too, because I don't think anybody should be excluded. It's kind of like when I told people during the election, don't you dare say that some person can't run for president. If you're a natural born citizen and you're above, 36 or 42, one of the two, and you don't have any kind of felonies or anything, whatever the basic requirements are, you can run for president. Just because you're not a lawyer or a politician doesn't mean you can't run for president. And I get so mad at people when they say stuff like that. No, you have a problem because you have been conditioned that the only people that can run for office in your mind is a politician or a lawyer. I said, you have the problem, not the person running. That makes me mad when people say stuff like that. But anyway, that's all part of freedom. I'll shut up. Miss Fuller, let me see if she's in here. You in here, Miss Fuller?
Yeah, I'm in here.
Okay, you're not going to turn me in. Okay, good. I'm sorry, but my phone was on buzz again. I'm going to try to make sure I put it on. I'm going to turn the volume down and put it on volume so I can hear it, okay?
All right.
All right. Anyway, you can look at the first part. We're just going over MyLab Plus, which I'm going over the homework portion right now. Be a short class today anyway. You can get it on the video, whatever you missed, okay?
All right.
Okay. Now I sent it to myself now. Oh yeah, that's how I found out you wrote me an email. That's how I found it. I was sending it by email and I saw your email. So that's how I knew that I was in trouble, Ms. Fuller. Okay. So now I go down to 110 questions. I'm working on trying to get it to send to my, I think this is it. No, there it is. I'm trying to get it to send automatically to these, and I haven't got it quite perfected yet. So just bear with me. All right, there it is. And look at here. I have no clue. You suck. I sent that just a few minutes ago, and what I will do is I will perfect it, and it will send all your homework questions to this folder. At the beginning of each class, I'll pull up that folder and see if I got any questions. Now, the only person in here that's had me before is Mr. Keller and Miss Fisher. Mr. Keller, how many questions did we have in your class before class? I mean, how many questions? Do you remember?
I don't know, probably anywhere from 10 to 12.
Yeah. And then what do you remember in your class? Was it college algebra? Well, we probably have a few in there. Probably 5 to 6, 4 or 5. Do you remember? 4 or 5. We have them, okay, and that's the gauge that I use to see if y'all know what y'all are doing. If y'all keep sending 8.3 to me, and the next day we meet, y'all send me more 8.3s, then what does that tell me as an instructor? I haven't covered it well enough. Or y'all are kind of daft. No, I'm sorry. Y'all are kind of thick. No, what is it? Y'all are kind of challenged. That's it. No, it's probably that I haven't covered it well enough. So then I put on the brakes and I go back over 8.3. Well, let's say I go over 8.4 and y'all do your homework and the next day I come in, there's no questions in 8.4. Then what am I going to assume? Everybody did their homework and everybody what? Nobody did their homework. Is that what you said? Well, yeah, nobody did their homework, or everybody did their homework and what? They understand it. And then I'm going to keep going. The accelerator. So to ask my instructor if the students use it, it can be a brake or it can be an accelerator. That's up to the students. Squeaky door gets the what? One person. You got good parents. Okay?
Also,
Oh, WD-40. Well, that's good, but okay. It sounds better than OIL because I don't pronounce OIL. I spell it. So anyway, there's a story behind that, and I'm not going into it right now. In fact, when you see me out in the real world, I'll get a quart of OIL. I will not say OIL or FOIL or COIL or those words. The reason the story is, it goes to a long time ago with the class. I had a smart aleck in the class that was from above the Mason-Dixon line, and that person always said that they spoke perfect English and everybody else was stupid, pretty much. And I said the FOIL method, and that's where it started, and that was in 1996. So since 1996, in my class, I do not pronounce the word FOIL because there's two ways to pronounce it: the right way and the not so right way. So, and just like, have you ever heard somebody pronounce the word FOUNTAIN and MOUNTAIN different? Some people say mountain. I say mountain. Mountain. That's mountain. I've never heard of a mountain. Y'all ever heard of a mountain with a fountain? Fountain. I've never heard of that before. But anyway, OIL. So I click on this, and this is the great thing about this. You don't have to send me. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to print it out and give it to me. All I do is click on the hyperlink, and that problem that you were doing last night at 12 o'clock is right there. And I pull it up in front of class, and we do the problem. Chances are, if one person had that question, 5 other people had it. Okay? So that's the good thing about this. You can send it and not raise your hand and not be embarrassed because you sent a question. Also, don't do this. Don't send a question, and then if you figure it out, say, oh, I figured it out, you don't need to go over it. So that's basically saying, screw the rest of the class, because they might want to know how to do it. Okay? If you send me a question, great, because that means probably somebody else had the same question. So I'm not going to erase it, and I'm not going to not do it. I'm going to go through the question. When do I not go through the question? Well, if everybody sends me 8.345, I'm only going to do it once or twice, and then I'm going to cover it again to make sure everybody understands it. But I'm not going to cover 15 8.345s. I'm not going to cover it because of the same question. Okay, that's the only time I won't do all the questions is when they're the same question. And if they're the same question, either y'all are conspiring against me, or I haven't covered the question, or it's an extremely difficult question. One of the three. And I prefer the latter because I don't think y'all will conspire against me. I'll just leave that up to Russia. Right? Okay. So, what is the most important button? Ask my instructor. That's the most important button. Now, the test. When you look at a test, and I'm just going to go to another class because I got a test up on there. Well, I did. I don't know. It's probably done disappeared now. But I'm going to reopen it because there's a reason I'm doing it. Let me see if it's... No, I don't think it's still... I'm just going to go open it up again. I think it's closed. Test. There it is. Yeah, closed at 10. So, edit. Yes. I should just do settings. There we go. It is 11:46. I'm going to set it for 12:30. Yeah, 1 o'clock. My students in this class know not to mess with it. They better not. I'm throw them out of class. All right, so here we go. You go to, you're ready to take the test. So you hit, well, yours should say homework and quizzes and tests. They're going to this assignment thing, which I need to change that to quizzes and tests because people are used to quizzes and tests. And quizzes and tests, and there's the test. You click on it. It'll have the due date. Look at there. It has the due date, has the time limit, and has how many attempts. So there's 3 DA questions you don't have to ask me. Okay? Always remember, if you ever want to find a date, a due date, a time, anything, you go to My Labs Plus. If there's not one, then you don't need to worry about it. I do. Okay? So click on that. It's going to ask you, are you ready to start? Why is it asking you that? Well, they want you to make sure that the kids are put to bed. They want you to make sure that the streaks of lightning have ceased to be outside your house, that the flood is gone, the snowstorm or ice storm is gone. Do not start a test at home with a plug-in modem. You know those? Okay? Don't be using the test. Don't be taking a test when you know that blame well something's going to happen. Okay? If it's clear outside like this, then yes, take a test. But make sure you don't have a bunch of band of roosters running around the house, the dogs running up and down the stairs, cats chewing on the keyboard. Make sure all this is not going on while you're trying to take a test. Okay?
Trying to think through here how a band of roosters run around the house.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because what's Murphy's Law? Golly, how'd you know that? I just don't
I am
understand.
the living embodiment of Murphy's Law.
Good gracious, I thought I did. But usually, when I ask what Murphy's Law is, I get 30 people staring at me and these crickets in the back going, golly, your parents must have been real good. All right.
That's why I know what it is.
Okay.
Anyway, that question is coming from someone who owns quails anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I even asking?
I know.
I'm the kind of person who would have a bunch of roosters.
I know, that's true. Start test. So you start the test. And look at what it's got. It's got question. It's got how many questions you have. The clock. 24 points possible. Well, 24 points is doing one per 24 questions. And then submit. Now, why do they put the submit button way up there? So you don't hit it. All right, this is a math question. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the math questions because we haven't covered any math yet. So this is just a generic test off of another subject. So just look at it and say, okay, math question. Math question. I'm doing this for a reason. You're going to see the reason at the end. So click on that. Okay, that's a math question. Look at it and go to the next one. Oh my gosh, look at there. That's not a math question. That's a bonus question. Comes from your syllabi and your handouts. This is a new one too because I've had to put these in. Where do I get these questions? Do I just make them up? No, I get these questions from students at the end of the semester. Now, you're one of my students. Am I lying when I tell you that I get some of these? Am I lying to these people when I tell you I get some of these questions? No, I'm not. I had one student actually ask me in class if I dropped the lowest test grade. After 4 unit tests, the question on there is, I do not drop the lowest test grade. I do not substitute the final in for the lowest test grade. And these people procreate. If a student does not complete a homework assignment or test, what grade will be recorded for that assignment? 0, zilch, nada. Nada is Spanish for what? 0. So I think it's probably C. What do y'all think? Yeah, 3 different grades, yeah. Huh? The snowflake, yes, pretty little snowflake. I need a safe space. When is the last day of class for this semester? Now look at all these answers. You're going to start seeing a pattern. Okay? Now when you see that pattern, I want you to raise your hand or say what the pattern is. Okay? Which one is it? It's C. Now, are you going to be one of the students that came up to me after class and say, Hubert, I'm offended. What are you offended about? Well, I had a friend's aunt's grandmother's sister's father-in-law who died during 9/11, and I'm offended because you put that on there. So I asked the person, I said, well, what do you think about people, what do you think about the date December 7th, 1941? And she goes, what's that? Get out of my face. If you don't even know what Pearl Harbor is, don't even come up here asking me about 9/11. I put 9/11 up there because I think it's a date nobody should ever what? Forget. Thank you. Some people, I think, wake up in the morning and I think they say to themselves, what can I do to be offended today? That is from Terminator. Yeah. No, it's not. I'm not trying to put, that's not in, I'm not trying to, let's see. I'm not trying to solicit religious material in here or anything. That comes from a movie. Okay, now, yeah, I'm going to take up an offering in a minute. All right. Are you offended? All right. If you have incomplete assignments and Hubert puts a 0 in for the grade, what will that 0 do to your grade? D, tapioca?
No, B.
B. I'll take B as an answer. The answer is A, is an alpha. Tapioca, I was watching the commercial with the Progressive commercial where she's trying to get password into the speaker. She says tapioca. And I put it on there. Anyway, it will decrease it. Anytime a 0 goes in your grade, what will it do? It will decrease it. Why do I have this question? Well, the last day of class, I put in 0s for your incomplete homework grades. And people were noticing their grades were going down. And I got 3 or 4 text messages that said, why is my grade going down? Did I respond? No. Math question. 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 If you take several forms of a unit test in Hubert's class, how is it counted? Now this one was one of the first questions I put up because there's a possible other answer, but it's not the answer because I've told you. It's not he calls you a loser and fails you, although that could be a good answer. He averages the grades. That's the other possible answer, but I don't do that. So the answer is what? B. He takes the highest grades and drops the lowest. So if you take 4 unit tests and you've got 3 attempts on each test, that's 12 attempts, right? And I drop how many? 8. Well, you're close. I know what you're thinking. Okay, I drop. Yeah, you're thinking of 3 tests. Okay, I drop 8. Now a lot of people say, well, Hubert, you're giving them a grade. No, I'm not, because think about it. If I give you 30 questions on a test and you take it 3 times, how many problems have you done? 90 problems, which is another set of homework. Okay, so what you're actually doing is working more. I know, I'm a bastard. So he takes the highest grade and drops the lowest. How is homework, test, and exams weighed in Hubert's class? Well, there's only one possible answer. Which one? Why is it A? Why isn't it C? C doesn't equal 100%. You're so smart. You ever said that? You're so smart. All them people that get this problem wrong, they put C. Yeah, but I didn't say anything about it. All of them have to be on there. And these people procreate too. In your grade book, to find your final grade after you have completed all your assignments, which should you choose? Have y'all seen the pattern yet of the answers?
It's all bars.
You're so smart. Y'all both are just. Are y'all gifted and talented? Because I'm not used to people answering questions. I'm used to people going, yes. Now, why did I get butter? Well, me and my son. Anybody have an idea what we were watching? We were watching SpongeBob, and it was one of those episodes where Patrick was holding a stick of butter, and he just decided to eat it. That's why I said butter. I don't know where I got cookie from. So.
This campus.
Oh Lord, there's no telling what kind of story from this campus.
There was this one time I decided to take a biology course here. I was in a class this morning who really had some form of autism.
Oh Lord.
Really bad form of autism too. And he would get up like every 5 to 10 minutes, pace it back to the class.
I know who it is.
You know?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He just has what you said.
Anyway, we were doing this a little research on some stuff involving plant samples.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those plant samples was it's like a conifer branch.
Whatever.
And he gets to it, and one of the conifers falls off. And I'll give you one guess. That's what he said.
No idea.
He yells out at the top of his lungs, SpongeBob. We all look at him like, what?
Well, SpongeBob is going off after this year, I think. So
Yeah.
maybe it affected him.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Just different. What branch of military service did Hubert serve? Okay. Now this one I will say, if you don't put Marine Corps, at least pick Boy Scouts or Navy. Okay. Don't pick the Army. All right, please.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm just kidding. God, sense of humor.
Wait, so were you a crown eater?
Huh?
Were you a crown eater?
Crown eater.
Yeah, really.
I was a jarhead. Yeah.
There you go. Boy Scouts.
What?
Crayons. That's
Crayons. I didn't know that. I've never been. We were always called leatherheads or leathernecks or jarheads.
Nowadays.
Oh, now it's crayon eaters. Okay. Well, yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're supposed to be higher in the Marine Corps than it is in the Army. That's what they say. Does Hubert replace your lowest test grade? Here it is. The girl asked this in class. Do you replace your lowest? This was at the end of the semester. Does Hubert replace your lowest test grade with your final exam grade? No way, no how. Math question, math question, math question. When is the week of finals? Y'all have done seen the pattern, so. If you look at your overall grade, one day, and it has decreased from several days ago, what has happened? That's it. A is the answer. Yes. Whenever something don't go your way, you blame someone else. Me and my son, we are having war about that. I catch him doing things on the farm that he's not supposed to, and I tell him, I say, that's not correct. Well, that's the way that so-and-so does it. Now, no, you're not doing it correct. And we have an argument. And he's trying to blame it on somebody. And basically, he's done it wrong. It was his fault. He's supposed to own up to it.
So
And
basically, everyone's goes.
I'm sorry, what?
So basically, your child is just a future NCAA.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's going to be. He's a good kid. It's just that he has a lot of influence from my ex, which is bad. So anyway, a 0 has been placed. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to show y'all why I did this, okay? I just completed 9 questions on this test. Just 9. I have no idea how to do the math. And I made a 42. If you ever meet somebody that failed my class with an F, get away from them. Because something on them is going to rub off on you. Because nobody should make below a 40 in my class. Nobody. Yeah, they can go through every test and make a 40 and do all the homework and make a C or D, make a B or a C on the homework and still pass my class with a D. I've actually computed it. You can. Very, very, very slim D, but you can do it. Now, you've got 14 questions on there, basically 15 questions that are mathematical. Okay? So you need to make sure you know both of them, which now everybody knows my questions and the pattern. So if you miss one, you don't what? You don't tell anybody. Oh yeah, I got that one right. Don't tell anybody you missed one of my bonus questions. If you do, you're hanging a sign around your neck that says what? No, it says much worse than that. It says, I am a DA, pretty much. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so who's got questions on any of this on the MyLabs Plus? Any questions? No questions whatsoever. All right, then y'all get out of here. Have a good day. Get on to MyLabs Plus. I will, right after class is over, I'm going to send out these